Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I'm going to show you how to do the USB flashback on the MSI B650 Edge Wi-Fi. Keep watching to find out how. Okay, and welcome back. We are going to be doing a BIOS flash today on our MSI MPG B650 Wi-Fi. Edge Wi-Fi rather, I should say. Always make sure you get the motherboard model right, otherwise things go very wrong very quickly. Anyway, I digress. So what you're going to need to actually perform this flashback is USB stick, because it is a USB flashback. You also need a power supply with a 24-pin and also a 8-pin CPU connector, which will plug into your motherboard, which obviously you'll need as well. The 24-pin connector is this one here. That one will need to be connected. And also at the top of the motherboard, there's two 8-pin connectors. You can plug in your CPU connector to either one of those. Doesn't make any difference at all. Either one is absolutely fine. Other than that, you don't need anything else on the board whatsoever. And in fact, my recommendation is to do this primarily. So before you actually start doing your build or anything, it's a really good idea to do this and get it out of the way, because if for some reason it refuses to flash, then really there's not really a great deal else that you can kind of take out of the equation. It's most likely going to be the fact that either it's been user error, i.e. you haven't followed the video and you've got the wrong file name, or it just doesn't like the brand of USB stick that you're using, which is actually still an issue. Now, if you want to get a very good one, which is extremely reliable, such as this one, this is a SanDisk Ultra Flare or Flare Ultra, 32GB. It's absolutely fine, works on pretty much every board I've ever used. I'll put links for this in the video description, so if maybe you're watching this or you've watched it, you've tried to follow the instructions and it's not worked, definitely get yourself one of these. But it has to be 32GB or less, because it does need to be formatted to FAT32. Now, there are ways you can actually format a larger drive to a smaller size, but it's rather technical, so you can do it. I'll link that video that we showed you how to resize a drive in the video description also. So if maybe you've got a 128GB or a terabyte drive, for instance, you can create a small partition on that drive, but it's not always for the faint-hearted. So best thing to do, pick yourself up one of these. You will thank yourself for it later. Anyway, that is pretty much it. So yeah, other thing you'll need is potentially a box or something to put it on, power supply, USB stick, and connection to the internet, because we do need to go onto the internet to get the BIOS, and I think that's what we should do next. Okay, so we're on our Windows desktop. This is on another working computer, and we're going to fire up Chrome. Obviously, use your browser of choice. Type in here, MSI B650 Edge, or basically follow the links in the video description, which I've probably done those for you already, and head over to the MSI website, which should be something like this, msi.com/motherboards, etc., etc. Again, links will be in the video description. Now, on the site itself, you've got these main tabs at the top. This may change by the time the video goes out, but it should be very similar. So you want to head over to the support tab, and generally it's going to come up on the BIOS page first of all, because it's probably the one that most people go to. So you've got some instructions there on how to use it, but you probably won't need that because you're watching this. So this is our BIOS revisions, with the newest one being at the top, as you can see by the release dates there. Now, something you'll notice with MSI BIOSes for pretty much all their boards now, if the figure on the end of the BIOS string, so V15 is version 15, if it's got an extra digit on the end, so V15.1 or 151, that is generally a beta version. So we scroll down through, the original release on this particular board was version 10.0, so then we've got version 11, etc., and you can see the dates going on. So it adds various things. People always say, which one should I do? Should I do the newest one? Yes, is the easy answer, because as things go on, they add things like update for new processors and AGISA codes, which also will add more support for RAM, various different other features, obviously, and security updates. Hence why this one was released, because this is the AGISA Combo Pi 1.0.0.6, and there is a patch there for a potential security vulnerability within AMD CPUs. So obviously you do want to keep that patch to keep yourself nice and secure. So let's get our USB drive. We'll stick that into the computer, and this has got stuff on it already, so we're going to want to format that. So right click and choose format. Obviously if there's data on this that you want to keep, then you should get rid of it. So it says only 1 gig, so it's obviously done some formatting already previously. So let's restore our device defaults. If there's anything in the volume label here, get rid of it. So I'm going to remove that, and we'll do a quick format. So now we've got a blank USB drive. This only showing up as a 1 gig one because again it's been formatted before, so we do need to actually do FDisk on this or something later to fix that. But anyway, we now have a blank drive which is FAT32, which is the most important part. So let's download our BIOS. So we're going to click on this one here, and depending on your browser it's going to say where it's downloaded. At the moment it's down here as a zip file, which should be going to our downloads folder. So we're going to click on there, do show in folder, and there we go, it's in our downloads folder. So now what I want to do, because this is a compressed folder and it's only 9 kilobytes, that isn't quite big enough or ready to be used. So let's do extract all, and we're going to extract it to the same location. You can extract it to the desktop or something if you want to. The choice is entirely yours. That should give you a new folder. And if we take a look inside of there, we should have a BIOS file, which is going to be roughly 32 megabytes in size, or 32,000 kilobytes. And what we need to do is rename the file. So depending on your Windows setup, you may or may not be able to see the file extension. If for some reason you can't see the file extension, then you can go up into View, sorry, this one, go on the dots there, and do Options, then View, and you can do Show Hidden Files or Extensions. That one. So yeah, get rid of that, and you'll see all of your file extensions. So just make sure you've got that done. Anyway, so go back into here. Let's rename our file. This is really important. People always ask this, Mike, do I have to rename the file? Well, yeah, I wouldn't do it unless it was necessary. And you have to call it MSI, then a dot, then ROM, and then press enter. You'll get a message saying about the file name changing, etc. Yes, that's fine. The reason why you have to rename it to MSI ROM rather than leaving it as its own file name is because the very, very small BIOS flashback utility or processor, whatever you want to call it, which is built into the motherboard, it has been designed specifically to only recognize a certain file name. So if it doesn't see a file name on this file called msi.rom, it will completely ignore it. So your flash drive will be just flashing away and doing absolutely nothing. So it is important, do it. It doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. You can do capitals all through if you wish. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever, but it does have to say msi.rom. So hopefully that clears that up for some people that have been watching. So now what we can do is we can right click on that and we'll choose copy. We'll head over to our USB drive and we'll right click and we'll choose paste. And there is our BIOS file, renamed and the right file size, ready to go. So now we can eject the drive and start the flash process. Right, so now we can do the exciting part, or the painstaking part, however you want to look at it. So 24-pin power connector, plug that into your motherboard on the outside edge. Make sure it clicks into place. There we go, that's in there. And then we've got our 8-pin connector for our CPU, which goes into the top there. Like I said earlier in the video, you can plug it into either one. Doesn't really make a great deal of difference which one you do, as long as the motherboard is getting the 12 volt power it requires in that top section. So that is everything set up. So all we need to do now is to identify our USB flashback port. So if you look at the back, because this has got an integrated I/O shield, it actually has everything printed on there. And the one we want to use is this one here. It says on the side flash BIOS. So get your USB stick and put it into the specific port. Then we can turn on the power supply and we're pretty much ready. So when you're happy, you've got your BIOS flashback button here in this top corner. So what I generally do is to press and hold it for about 3 seconds, at which point you may see your power supply spin up a little bit, you might see some RGB, you might see the LEDs light up on the board, etc. 2, 3. So as you can see there, after a couple of seconds, the flashing started, the LEDs have come on this back side here, which hopefully you can just about see. Let's give you a bit of a square view. So the RGBs come on the top of the motherboard. We're flashing a little bit faster here. And currently on this side, we've got our CPU and our RAM light on, which is totally normal. So just let it carry on, do its thing. We're waiting to see the LED change speed there, and for basically the board to power down. The whole process should take somewhere in the region of about 5 minutes. So if you want to, you can always set a timer. If it runs on much longer than that, then there's a strong chance it hasn't worked. If you just find that the light is flashing away at a slightly different rate and the motherboard lights don't come on. It hasn't recognized the USB drive, or what you can do is put the USB drive back into your computer and run the disk part command, erase the disk or use the clean command, and then try the process again. I'll link the video that I actually did on how to use disk part to clean your disk in the video description as well, which some of you may find useful if this doesn't work as intended. But anyway, other than that, we'll just fast forward this now until we get to the end. And there we go. So the power supply clicked off and the RGB went out briefly, and now it's trying to reboot itself, which obviously there's no processor or anything in there, so it can't do anything. So that is pretty much it. That is how to flash the BIOS. Now you can, if you want to, at this point, just turn off the power supply. That's probably the best way of doing it, but just make sure that your BIOS LED down here isn't flashing at all. And yeah, you should be absolutely fine. Obviously, the whole point of having a USB flashback, this is a standalone system, is if for some reason you did corrupt the BIOS, then that is the way you would actually recover the BIOS, by reflashing it. So there we go. We're going to turn the power supply off now. So I'll just show you me doing that. So there we go. Just let's go and get that on camera. There we go. So all we're going to do, turn off the power supply, and that is it. We can now unplug the USB drive and get on with the rest of the build. Okay, so there you go. There is the motherboard flash with the latest BIOS ready to do our build. Now, I would suggest to those of you that are watching, this is a really good time now just to put your processor in, put your RAM in, get everything running, hook up something to the display outs, and just see if the board actually works before you go ahead and do the full build. That is generally a good idea to do. I don't always do it myself, as those of you that watch our live streams will probably know, but it will save you a lot of heartache. So just try it on the platform, make sure it all works, make sure you can get a BIOS output. That way, if you put this into your system and then you go and try and fire up for the first time and you don't get any display, or you get errors on the debug LEDs, you're not going to know what it is. Could it be your case? Could it be a peripheral you've plugged in, your graphics card, maybe even your front panel connectors? Even the power supply switches, reset switches can cause a PC not to boot properly. So for a lot of you, especially if you're new to building, then I would suggest put your rig together, put your processor in, get your RAM in, put your cooler on, and just try the system. Make sure you get an actual output on your display. Anyway, I've rather this on for way too long. Hopefully the video has been useful to you. If it has, smash the like button. If you want to see more content of this on a daily basis, then hit the subscribe button and the chime icon. You've been notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video, or our Discord if you're getting problems. Thanks for watching.